Do it. Hello, this is the open hour for presentations by folks who've participated in our Outreachy and Google Summer of Code programs. We've had a really busy summer, and our biggest group, our biggest team of contributors yet, many of whom are already here on the call, and we're gonna go around and people are gonna talk a little bit about what they did during the program. And I guess we'll just say thank you to start off with to the Outreachy program, to the UN Foundation, the Dial Open Source Center at the UN Foundation, and to Google for supporting everyone this summer to do all this amazing work. Sorry, I'm Jeff. I work at Public Lab and I administer the program. And yeah, I guess if as each person goes, they could briefly introduce themselves and the title of their project, and then each person will get about 5 minutes. I've got a bit of a list here, so let's start off with Ananya, if you don't mind.
Hello, am I audible?
Yeah, sounded good.
Okay, so I'm just going to share my screen now.
Great, we see you.
Okay. So hello everyone, I'm Ananya Ardin. I was an Outreachy intern with Public Labs this summer. I worked on the leaflet environmental layers repository, and here's a short presentation to give you a brief overview of what I did in my summer. So starting off, what is LEL? So LEL, or Leaflet Environmental Layer, was a project started by Public Labs a year ago as a part of the GSOC program by Sagarpreet Chadha. So LEL is basically a collection of different environmental map layers, which has been implemented in the leaflet.js, which is a JavaScript library. So as a user, we can choose a combination of layers to display on the map. And on choosing, each layer gives some environment-related information on the map in the form of small markers or polygons as shown in the image alongside. So what are some features of LEL? So basically, LEL consists of a main map page with a collapsible layer menu. And this layer menu helps a user toggle between the different layers. So coming to the layers, there are two basic set of layers. One is the base layers and the overlay layers. So for base layers, we have 4 different base layers at the moment: grayscale, standard, street, or satellite. And this is basically the initial base layer you see on launching the LEL on any browser. And on top of this, you can choose a set of overlays to display. So now these overlay layers show a lot of information regarding the climate across the globe, like weather, rain, precipitation. We also have some layers to show the land usage and languages in an area. And we also have the justice map layers that helps us visualize race and income data for different communities across the globe. So coming to my project. So in summer, the work I did can briefly be classified into these 4 categories, apart from the existing bugs and newcomer issues I created and worked on. Firstly, the UI revamp. So in the UI revamp, I mainly worked on making the layer menu more user-friendly, and the whole LEL repo basically give it a more defined UI structure. The second part was standardization, and this was a major part of my project. So the goal was to write one standard file for different layers and to remove a lot of redundant code and redundant functions which were currently being used. The third part was refactoring, which was basically separating the HTML, CSS, and JavaScript code across the files in LEL. And the fourth part was testing. So as a part of testing, we set up the Jasmine testing framework and wrote a few basic tests for the different layers. Coming to the first part, which is the UI revamp. So initially, the layer menu did not have categorization of different layers and did not have specific structured names for different layers. There were issues with the positioning and width. So after a lot of discussion and following the new Public Lab style guideline, we revamped the UI of this layer menu. We changed the style, the width, and we also categorized the layer based on type. So you can see the open infra layers, the justice map layers, and we also color coded them to make it more easy for a new user to understand what's going on. We also gave reasonable names to the base layers so that it's just not named like base layer 1, overlay layer 1, which is very hard to understand for the new user. So moving on with the standardization of layer code. So basically before, LEL had about 30 layers, and each layer had its own JS file for its implementation. So this was creating a lot of redundant code, because if you go into the SERC directly, it was very confusing to see separate 30 JavaScript files. And most of this could actually be smartly and efficiently reduced to one. So this was basically what the standardization part involved. It involved looking at the code of different across the different SRC files, coming up with a new file in which you would combine different functions, write your own function, pass parameters, and try to condense redundant code into a newly written file. So basically, a metric we used for every standardization PR was to remove the double number of lines you're actually adding. So this was what my mentors used to review my standardization PR. We made sure that if you're adding 100 lines, you're actually removing at least 200 to 300 lines. So as you can see, there were a lot of lines removed as compared to added in the LEL repo across these 3 months. And right now, the addition of new layer process has become very much simpler, because now when you want to add a new layer, you don't need to create a whole new file again. You just need to call an already existing file and pass the layer name as a parameter, and the rest would be taken care of. You just need to add another if condition that if it's this layer name, call this function, and you're done. So basically, we could actually encourage a lot more newcomer participation in the LEL repo, because now adding new layers has been made a lot more simplified than what it was before. Now moving on to the next part of refactoring and testing. So initially, one problem we were facing in LEL was that there were no tests written. So every time a PR was raised, someone had to review it manually, and this actually is not a very foolproof way of doing it, because there were a lot of errors, and many times PRs have been merged incorrectly in LEL, which would actually break other parts of the code. So right now we have installed, we have set up the Jasmine testing framework and written a few basic tests for testing of layers. So right now a developer can just run grunt Jasmine on their console before actually committing code to make sure that it's not breaking any other part of the repository. And so this way we have a few basic tests involved, and bugs related to layer loading can be caught beforehand before actually pushing the code into production. So what are some of the future goals of the repository? So there's been discussion going on about changing the testing framework, because we thought with Jasmine, we aren't able to really explore and write a lot of solid test cases. We also want to implement a one-line code to add different layers. So basically right now, if any LEL is integrated with plots2 and mapknitters, so right now any change in LEL has to be manually changed in plots2 and mapknitter, which is a lot of hassle each time to do. So we want to implement this one-line code to add all layers, so that if anything is changed, we could directly just implement the change in the other two integrated repositories. We also want to improve the documentation, and since LEL is relatively a new project of public labs, there have been very few new contributors as compared to plots2 or MS sequencer. So one goal would be to improve the documentation a lot more and encourage newcomers for LEL. So lastly, I would really like to thank my mentors, Sagarpreet, Jeff, and Pranchu, for all the time and help with my project. And this summer was just great, and really looking forward to staying in touch with all of you and contributing to public labs. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ananya, and great job staying at 5 minutes. I really appreciate it. We have a lot of people. But it was a great overview of like an entire project, from architecture to testing to bug resolution to user interface. So fantastic work. All right, next up we have Isha. Do you want to queue up and go ahead?
Yeah, sure. Hi, everybody. I'm Isha Gupta, and I've been working on Simple Data Grapher, which is a absolutely brand new repository to Public Labs codebase. And I would be sharing my screen now. Are you able to see my presentation?
Yes, we do.
Okay, is everybody able to see my presentation?
Yeah, it's looking great.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So Simple Data Grapher is a new library that came up as a GSOC project idea this summer. And the main purpose of this library is to upload sensor data in CSV formats. And the user can select different columns from the CSV data, like temperature, humidity, or whatever kind of sensor they're using, and plot different graphs against them. So that was the basic idea of the library, to be able to provide the user a very simple way to upload CSV data into different formats, and like give them the option to choose different columns for X and Y axis with multiple graph types which are suitable for sensor data, and to create graphs and export them in different formats. So so we followed so we devised a library which was initially standalone and was to be integrated later with public lab. And the initial steps were to make this library very simple in terms of its UI and in terms of its import options. So it was set up in a Node.js framework, and we were able to successfully implement a simple system where the user can upload their data and plot graphs through them. We developed a automatic header detection technique, so that like in most of the CSV we are not very clear about how it really works. So we devised an automatic selection, and initially we started with chart.js to plot our graphs, but later on we moved to plotly.js for its better like graph displaying properties and zooming and panning options. So here's the basic functioning of the library. I hope it's visible. So next we developed a feature for adding another graph to the existing canvas. So because like one is not always sufficient, and and basically it was all vanilla JavaScript that was written. Initially, the code was a little clumsy because we did not follow an object-oriented approach, but later we moved to writing a more object-oriented code and divided the code in different classes, and by calling adapter functions so that it is more readable. This is a simple. We started with simple export options like creating a spreadsheet and downloading the graph as an image, and then we move to more complicated export options like CodeApp. CodeApp is used to view CSV data in a more organized manner and can directly export your data to your Google Drive. So this one took up some time, but I would especially like to thank Jonathan Doe from Concord, who actually helped me out in setting up CodeApp and like helping Public Lab to actually use this amazing API. Then we moved to the integration, which was a huge PR I created with like over 1,000 lines, and all the tests. The tests were written for Simple Data Grapher. The tests were written in Mocha and Puppeteer, and for Rails, some simple system tests were written. So, and the library was integrated using by publishing it with npm and integrating it just like Public Lab editor is integrated. So this is just a joke. So basically the toughest part of my project was to create the publish as a research note feature. And it took me a lot of like going through a lot of code, and I felt like a total detective then because I had to find all the links between different files, and I was trying to explain everything to the mentors, but like even they did not know clearly how the entire structure is working. So yeah, this was a pretty big feature, and like basically it involved a lot of Ajax call and controller calls to implement it. In this feature, the user can publish their plotted graph as a research note. By what I mean by this is on Public Lab we are able to create wikis or like blogs, and the users can discuss about their findings there. So the use of this was to, if a user is able to like draw some conclusive data and would like to discuss their findings, they can publish it in a research note, and is free to discuss with other people about it. So this was a major integration and an export feature with Public Lab because it actually had a proper use case. So I hope you're able to see the demo. Yeah, so this is how it works, and it's functional. And lastly, we created a per user data page in where the user can view all the files that they have uploaded, and they can also choose from the files that they have previously uploaded, and use the previously plotted data. They can also delete some of their files if they want, and can also associate basic information with their files. Lastly, I would like to thank everybody at Public Lab who was involved in this project, and the constant support I got from this community was amazing. And especially want to thank all the mentors, and I would also like to thank Pranshu for helping me with the JS work, and Jeff, Gaurav, Sagarpreet, Sess, and Igor and Siddharth. This was an amazing summer, and truly continue to work more with Public Lab, and I have a lot of great ideas coming up for Simple Data Grapher, potentially that can be used for a next GSOC project or GCR project.
Thank you so much, Isha. That was a great presentation. Yeah, I mentioned in the comments, but if you want to upload that one slide, I think that's a really funny slide with the
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
Well, upload all your slides, but that one was just really great. Cool. Okay, Divya, are you ready to take over here?
Yes. Hello. Am I audible?
Yes. Very clear. Great.
Can you
Okay.
second?
I'll just share my slides.
Actually, yeah, you can.
Okay. Yeah. Now I can.
Where do you share the slides so I can put the link in?
If folks want to share their presentations, please put them into the notes document and or just into the comments if that's easier for you, and we'll try to collect them up. It's not obligatory to share your presentations since you've already published a report, but if you'd like to, that's not a bad place to put it.
Yeah.
Great. Divya, go ahead.
Yes. Yeah. I'm just sharing it. Okay. So is it visible?
Yeah, we see it clearly. Thank you.
Okay. So I'll just start with my project. It is MapMeter image management. So first I'll introduce myself. I'm Divya, a finalist student at LNMIT Jaipur. This is my GitHub profile picture. I'm a big Kung Fu Panda fan, and this is me in real. Okay, so I start with the introduction of MapMeter for those who don't know. MapMeter is basically based around the upload of images, the positioning of the images, and composition of these images into the map export format. It is basically based on the aerial view of the image that we click. We find a location to upload it, and we just export the images, and we can comment and we can interact. So basically the features added by me are, these are some of the features, and some of the features I've discussed in detail further. So I'll just start with the first one, that is image ordering in sidebar. So what is basically that? Previously the images that were ordered were directly based on the time it was created. Like first images was shown first, second images was shown second. So I have added a feature to order the images based on name, size of the images, and also the time of creation. So like it shows in a more sorted way. Secondly, it is multiple image export. It is still a work in progress, Priya. It is not yet merged because we have a lot of export system going in MapMeter. So I think that, so basically what does this was doing? So multiple image export, previously all the images were exported
hey Divya,
together.
can you please present, actually your slides are not visible.
Is it visible?
They're just not updating.
Sorry?
Like it's still on the first slide.
Yeah, actually I have not discussed in detail. I have discussed few of the important features. Like it is work in progress, right? So.
Okay.
No.
Yeah, no problem.
It's fine. We just want to make sure you know it's not advancing the slide. So go ahead, please. Thank you.
Yeah, it's multiple image export. It is not yet merged, so I have not uploaded any GIF or screenshot for that. I was waiting it to get merged so that I could have added it. So basically what it was, currently all the images were exported together. With multiple image export, a person is able to select a few of the images to export. So I'll start with version tracking of images. So basically, what is version tracking? That is, history is associated with each image is stored in a database. Like since MapMeter is all about collaboration, so if 10 people work on a single map and there are a lot of images, so it can be shown that who edited which image at what time and what was the change he made. And also we can revert to the image, which is basically like git, that is version control, like what all edits are to be done. It is implemented using stack. As it can be seen, a list is shown that shows that which images is added, which is not added, and all that stuff. So that is basically version control. And then I did toggle view between list view and grid view. That is simple, like images can be shown in toggle view and grid view, just like all other things. And then I added the option to add map anonymously. Since we had a lot of UI revamp and backend, front end, Rails upgrade, a lot of things going in MapMeter, a lot of things had to be done to be taken care of. Like every time I used to merge, up, get my changes, some of the issues were faced. So I showed the major limitations that were present without logging in. So I worked on that. And then I just this was a small PR addition of map and image gallery to the tags page. I did this with the help of leaflet. I It was basically to show the bonds of the images, like at to just basically a zoom in feature type of. And then I implemented recently search maps by location. So this was simple, like I had to enter location, and with that I used to get all the places, all the maps with that location. So this was a feature. In this, I took some of the time, like I got frustrated at last and was busy with my college, so it took a bit of time. And then designing a login model, that was in my first phase. So it was basically a simple login pop-up model, which I did. And also some other issues I worked upon, like understanding the overall code base of MapMeter, since it was continuously going on changing, like after first UI, then backend changes and Rails upgrade. So like I had to like get a note of what all things were going. And like there were many UI improvements I worked upon, like small UI improvements which I worked, and there were many bug fixes since it was going through a lot. So definitely bugs was about to occur. I fixed some of the documentation, and definitely wrote some blogs regarding version control, multiple image export, and how I got into GSOC and all the stuff. I created a lot of first timers issue to welcome. I loved the process of creating first timers issue. Like it was fun to find out bugs. And lastly, community outreach. Like it was about 250 participants. It was the first time that I gave a talk to such a huge capacity of people. Like it was an amazing experience for me. Like I was not so confident, so my confidence increased. I told them about public lab. Many of them are interested for next GSOC, and girls for Outreachy. Unfortunately in winter they don't have that much time, so in summer many of them are looking forward. Like I have talked with them. And last but not the least, I would like to thank my mentors, Jeff, Sess, Gaurav, Siddharth, Sasha, all for guiding me, providing me all the support. And like you made my summer a wonderful one. Like thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank
Yeah,
you so much.
that's
Uh,
it.
Thank you, Divya. That's really nice presentation.
Yeah, it was
Oh,
great.
yeah, thank
Um,
you.
yeah, so many different projects happening at once. And I think we'll hear from more people who've worked on different parts of MapKnitter. We had a really, really active team there. So thank you. Naman, you're up next. Are you ready to present?
Yeah. Am I audible?
Yes, you are. Thank you.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. So this year in GSOC, I was working at integrating action cable with the floats too, so we can have real-time communication and real-time events. So now I'm going to share my slides. So here it is. So my project was WebSocket integration for real-time communication using action cable. So these are my project's goals. So first of all, I worked on WebSocket integration for real-time actions such as notifications. Second, I worked on making it live, reply by tweet. So it was a project of previous issue, but it was not working due to some glitch. So I basically worked on finding that bug, why it is not working. Third, I worked on basically doing the setup for simple data grapher project initially in my first phase. And my fourth thing that I did was to introduce service worker for mobile notification. Yeah. So first one is WebSocket integration. So first of all, for integrating WebSocket, I first set up the action cable in Floats2, and I also set up different rooms and channels for bidirectional communication between the front end and the back end using sockets. After that, I wrote some tests for action cable connection and streams and rooms and channels. So, and fourth thing, that the next thing I did was enabling notification settings on a page settings page made by Gaurav in the previous GSOC. And the last thing is handling WebSocket events actions on the front end. So I'm going to share a small video of how the notification is being created. So here it is. So this is all being done in real time using sockets. So I will come to the next slide now. Yeah. So the second thing I was doing is to fix reply by tweet. So initially I was not getting where I am failing because whenever I tested on my local, it is working, but whenever it is on production server, it is not working. So I have to make a lot of put statement to visualize every action what was happening. So it took a lot of time to get what is actually happening on production. So after doing this, we finally find out the bug, what was the actual bug. So after that, we wrote some tests about it. So here's the next slide. So in the left-hand side, Jeffrey made a reply to one of the tweets of the public lab, and on the right side, there was a comment which automatically got added to the notes. Yeah. So the next thing I did was in the simple data grapher was to set up the project. So in my first phase, I mainly worked on the simple data grapher. So first of all, I set up the project structure setup. Initially, the whole of the simple data grapher project was in one file. So what I did, I divided it into a node kind of project where it is a separate SRC file, this file, which contains the compilation files. They are a separate test folder. So I basically did all the structuring of the project. Second, I added the Isha. Initially, Isha completed all the basic features. So after that, I added the feature of multiple graph features, using which we just have to call a function and one graph will be automatically get added. So the third thing I worked on is converting the mono file structure to object-oriented structure. So initially, all the code was in one file. So I structured it into different classes using the OOPS concept in ES6 and used Babel to transcompile into ES5 so that it worked in all the browsers. So the last thing I worked on is introducing service worker for mobile notifications. So initially notification was not working on mobile. It is the main reason behind that was Android do not let the Chrome open the notification unless there is a user gesture. So we do not have user gesture because the notification on the browser was opening due to the sockets. So to make this work on the mobile browser, so we introduced service worker. So service worker, what it does, it runs in the background, and whenever browser receives an event, so what it does, it calls the service worker to create a notification. And on the right side, you can see there is a notification on the on the notification bar, and whenever you click on one of the bar, the browser gets open, and yeah, so the notes will get open on the browser. Yeah. So thank you. If you have any questions, then let me know.
Thank you so much, Maman. This is a really a cool one, and I'm really eager to see more notifications on my phone. Actually.
Yeah, sure.
Super.
So some of the things are not working right now. I guess it is not working in production. I guess this is because of the Nginx configuration we are having. And I think if we fix the Nginx configuration, we will be it will be working on the server soon.
That's great. Yeah, I'll follow up with Sebastian, and if you want to reach out to him in the chat room as well, Icarito, that would be great. Thank you.
Sure.
Alex, are you ready to go?
Yes, I'm ready.
All right, go ahead.
Okay, guys, so nice to meet you all. I'm Alex, I'm from Brazil, and my project was all about upgrading MapMeter, the Rails version. So I'm going to share my screen now with my presentation. The link to my presentation, it's on the pad. I'll send you on Gitter or wherever else. Let me share my screen. Can you guys see it?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, nice one. So, well, as I said, my project was about upgrading MapMeter's Rails version. So basically, I had like 4 big milestones. That is, first one, I had to prepare the whole MapMeter environment to the upgrades. I had to upgrade it first to Rails 4, Rails 5, and the last one, Rails 6. So about the Rails 4 upgrade. So at first, I had started this upgrade a while ago, like on March of this year. But I mean, the PR got a little lost. So Seth, that works with us in MapMeter, she started this upgrade, and me along with Kaustup, I think that's the pronunciation, Kaustup. He was on the project with me, so we hop along with Seth to get on this upgrade. So she had a lot of work done already. So basically, my work was related to DevOps and conviction of this. So first I realized that we were using the same environment, the production environment, inside Travis CI and also for development. So I had to do this job of splitting the environment. So I had to explicitly split the development, the test, and the production environment. And I also got the chance to remove some files that were unnecessary to MapMeter. And another thing, I had to set local build steps for Travis. So I realized that Travis was using our Docker to build, but I had to change it to use local builds. So this has been done too. I had some links on the presentation as well, so you can see as I'm speaking. I had the links for the PRs, and a nice thing that I have scheduled with my mentors was a new workflow. That is, previously I was opening PRs and opening them to the main branch. So since we were taking too long to get my PRs closed, and since my project is one that a feature depends on another, right? So for example, Rails 5 depends on Rails 4 to be set up. So we implemented a strategy to have like a middleware branch. We called it development. So I was opening my PRs to the development branch, and then later we were opening PRs from development to main branch, so that I could quickly like solve my PRs, like solve my issues. Then I could work faster. So this was something that worked really well actually, and got a chance to work faster. About the Rails 5 upgrade, I mean, a lot has been done. I mean, it was the upgrade that I worked the most. We worked a lot in Rails asset pipeline with the asset compilation pipeline. We had totally replaced Bower and using Ardin, like later tool, and also using properly using like uglifier to precompile our libs, our external libs that are using the new ECMAScript syntax, ECMAScript 6. Also, we encounter, I mean, we have set a lot of system tests the same way we did on Plot 2. So a lot of things, I will talk about it a little later, but a lot of things we got from Plots 2. So we're using the same pattern among the project. Well, one cool thing I did on this during this upgrade was helping Vidit Chitkara. I think that's the pronunciation. We I hopped on his action cable setup. It was a cool thing because his work depended a little on mine because in order to get action cable set up, we needed Rails 5 like up and stable. So I finished Rails 5 and helped him a little with this action cable thing. Another cool thing that it was having the Robocop linter inside the 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 workflow inside the developing pipelines of MapKnitter. So we had Robocop integrated with the same pattern as Plot 2, and also with the integration of CodeCop. So it was something very nice we did. And also, I mean, a lot of other things that came out. For example, we had some security upgrades. I don't know if you guys remember, but before Rails 5, we had a lot of we had not all of the routes were explicitly written on our routes file. So we were using what we call abstract routing. So this has been identified by the Rails team that as a security issue, we can easily inject JavaScript and SQL. So it was a security issue to MapKnitter, and I removed this abstract routing and started exclusively writing all of the routes we use. So this was a cool thing, and also enforcing the usage of strong params. So every object inside MapKnitter gets wrapped in a single object. I mean, something about my project is that it's not very visual as the other guys that presented. So my work was like a backend style. There's nothing visual to it. Well, some other cool stuff I did on the Rails 5 upgrade. I had the chance to work with Jenkins, something I have never done before. And some cool stuff about Jenkins that I did some refactoring work. I implemented a function in our makefile to avoid repetition of code. Some other stuff. I had improved the star script we use on Docker. To work both locally and on Jenkins. And also I have implemented a rake test to verify the existence of a database. So we don't have to do a lot of manual work to get either MapKnitter redeployed or deployed. So it was a cool work I have done. Well, about Rails 6, it's also done. I mean, we have put it on freeze mode because I was talking to a friend of mine. He's a Debian developer, and he told me that we don't have Rails 6 packaged for Debian. So if we accept the Rails XPR, we wouldn't be able to use it on production. So this is on hold for now. But what has been done on this upgrade, it was the smoothest of the upgrade. But I mean, what we have done is I have upgraded the Ruby version. I mean, I think now we're using Ruby 2.4.6. So I had to upgrade our Ruby version to use 2.6.3. It was moved. I mean, it didn't give me a lot of trouble. And I had the chance to remove a lot of other deprecated files we were using in our asset pipeline, like some Grunt or Bower related files. And I mean, we're using also the latest framework defaults of Rails. So it's pretty stable too. Some of the upcoming work I have left is that I had to set a webpacker, and so we had to completely deprecate SP rockets and start using webpacker because it has a better integration with Rails 6. But this is a future work. I mean, as I said on the slides, I have the upgrade already, mostly of the hard work set up. I mean, we have to change a lot of the dependencies of folders. I mean, there's a huge new folder structure. But something that I have to get it done is to get the assets to precompile. That's what's left to get Webpacker and totally remove SP rockets. And one thing, and it's a cool thing that it was an upcoming work, but it's not anymore. It's to start using Forgo instead of Foreman. Foreman, it was a gem that used to schedule processes, and I had to start using Foreman since I had to hop on Vidit to help him with the action cable integration because we use Passenger as a server and action cable needs Puma as a server, so we don't need there's no way of scheduling process without using Foreman, so that's why we use Foreman 4. But I got to successfully change. It was a small work, so the DPR it's already there. I mean, there's some stuff I still want to do, and I still want to work on plots too and improve some stuff I have seen there. So I'll continue my work. Well, and obrigado, thanks to you all. I mean, a special thanks to Sasha. I mean, she has helped me a lot in this project. Also, Kaustub, he's not here, but MapNetter was entirely collaborative to me. And thanks, guys. Thanks for the opportunity.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
I think it's really cool to hear that you have like plans that you want to implement for the future, and you sound really excited to implement them.
Yeah, I mean, I have seen a lot of stuff. I mean, it's because of actually the lack of time, but I have seen a lot of stuff that I mean, we have chances to get it improved, right? You know.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm very eager to working on top of those.
Yeah.
And it's really cool that Sasha, you and Alex have been able to collaborate, especially because you are, for the most part, coming at MapNetter from very opposite ends. Kaustub working on the very base foundation and even Travis setups and container configurations, and you've done also a lot of work up and down the stack, but your biggest project recently has been the distortable image library, which is at the very other end.
MapKnitter has just been very crazy in that, like, sometimes I'll go on and literally nothing's working, and then I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna like look through everything right now.
We're getting more stable. We have system tests now. It's improving. But yeah, thank you for all of your work, both of you. Lakika, are you ready to go on now? Alex, maybe you can stop screen sharing. And...
Okay, so am I audible?
Go ahead. Yes, we hear you. Thank you.
Okay, so I'll just share my screen and Okay. Is my first slide visible? Hello?
Yeah, it works. We see it. Thank you.
And can we see the next slide? Like, what was the idea?
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
okay, thank you. Okay, I'll start with this. Okay, so hey everyone. This is Lekhika Duktal, and I go by name Cleverfool77 on GitHub. And this year I did Outreachy 2019 with Public Lab, and so basically our project, so what was the idea? The idea was to enhance the UI of the plots tool, and we call it as public lab or .org, and to do some changes to backend, small changes, and ensuring that all the information is consistent and is there. To ensure that no information is lost with the new design. And the design was given to us by Jeff, like it was according to new, we designed it according to new style graph, and it was two people, it was me and Gautami. Like what we did was, and we divided each and everything into different sections, and in each and every section we divided it into different parts, and we got ourselves assigned to those parts, and we started working on that. So basically how this is my kind of milestone and how I did the work. Like it started on May 20th, and I started off like it started off intern started. I started first with card design on people section, like, and there was like recent tags added on people section and lots of fixing. Then on 8 June we had like people section was completed before the first phase. Like from 8 June we had the second phase, and in second phase the small parts like question section and other stuff like search by result, they were started. Till 8 July, we had already completed the question section. It was my parts. And in individual tax section, we had the, like I'll go through it later. Like we had slides in that. And then in last, we built the profile section and the sidebars. Okay, so the UI design work. First, I'll go to public section. Oh, sorry, people section. So what I did was like I added the cards and basically designing it earlier. For the people section, we had the list of user and it was in a table format, right? So now we had, as according to style graph, we're supposed to do it. We're supposed to have card design. So we went for card design. And we did small fixes like regarding the ordering and other stuff. And then we added for every user, we added some recent tags and other features. And then I went to question section. In question section, we divided the whole, actually the question section was, we're supposed to do it in shadow interface. Like we haven't replaced it yet because we are still, I guess, testing it or checking it whether it's good or not. But yeah, we divided into 4 sections. I went for first and third, and Gautami went for second and fourth. So the first one was simple. It was like giving the info. Right now, we haven't replaced the logarithm, I guess. Okay. So after that, we had some featured questions. And in featured question, we had the 2 most popular questions. And yeah, so I did some designing part. And regarding featured question, I did changes in lots of files because I need to check the whole part and do changes according to it. And as the shadow interface was a new route, so we are supposed to do all the changes as per the new route. So there were lots of changes. And next was search by result UI design. It was very small change, like just having the vertical bar to get the different results and the distinct between them. And then we have the individual tag section. It was the, I guess, major part. Yeah, I guess it was the major part. And in this first, we had like the earlier, the card design were, I guess it was some panels, and we had all the information like views, comments, the answers, and I guess stars, and all lots of stuff in a single in a single line with separated by a vertical bar. Right now, what we have is we can have an image, a consistent image with a title and the activity by like who wrote this, and all the extra information that we have, it's been hidden in that ellipses. And in ellipses, we have all the data like the info, the views, and all this stuff. And similar one for the question, the upper one is for notes, and then below one is for question. In question, we had some more tags and other features. So these were the changes in individual tag section that I did. And few more thing I did was like below behind the main card, we wanted to have one main cover image, and its cover image was supposed to be wiki image. Basically, if that particular tag has some wiki page, so then only we are supposed to have that wiki image behind it. And if it doesn't have it, so we'll just show some default gray image. And if the image size is not consistent with our cover that we require, then we are supposed to have it. We are supposed to have some extra default color or some default cover which will be covering. So we are supposed to cover the whole that rectangular section as cover, despite the images of that consistent size or not. So we are supposed to fix that. Actually, it is already fixed. We are supposed to do that, and we had a drop down feature. Earlier it was tabs, so now we went for drop down to change between the notes, questions, and wiki pages and all this stuff. This is still under the review. Like right now what's happening is, for subscribing to particular tag, when you click on subscribe, it's just subscribe to related tags, not to that particular tag itself. Like, it's the main bug, right? So what we are doing is, right now, if you're not logging, you can't subscribe. Just show simple tooltip. And if you're logging, have two options. One is for subscribing, and one is a carrot down feature, which is for subscribing to related tags. And if you're already logged in and if you have already subscribed, then you're supposed to show a new post feature, because we don't need an unsubscribe feature here, but the unsubscribing feature is added in the ellipses. Like, we have added a button for unsubscribing to ellipses. We have hidden it, and when we are subscribed to note, we have added a option of new post, basically. And profile section, it's a small screen. This is the UI. Like, I added all the info. Okay, there is small bug we can see before the join 6 months ago. It was just removed 1 day ago or 2 hours ago. Okay, so in profile small section, we added all the data. Like, basically we change the data according to new design. And the map, earlier the map was, the columns were differentiated, and we added all the notes and question and these kind of stuff as per the topic cards. As we know, like, now the new design is based on topic cards, so everything was done according to that. And all the notes that user has, all the tags that user has subscribed, only those will be shown. Subscribed and used, only those will be shown. And all the notes that user have written, only those will be shown inside the topic cards. And above that, we have the most common tags, basically the most common tags which are used by user. And we have two kinds of tags in this profile section. One is most common tags, and one is user tag, which is added by user. It's a different one. It's hidden behind the tag button, which we can see. And we have lots of button, all the extra information like RSS feed and other follow stuff. It was hidden behind the ellipses. Yeah, this is the profile section for the web, and this is the same thing. It's just they were like all this kind of stuff. And then the sidebar. Actually, we were dependent on each other a lot, me and Gautami. So what happened for the time? Like, I was working on some part, and we are supposed to move forward only when Shield completed. So till that time, I went for sidebar. Here I did the toggle icons, and at that time I didn't do much changes. I just added a toggle icons for all the pages like notes, wiki, and questions, and the tooltip were same. And now what I am doing is, as you have seen, like in wiki, notes, all the information like the link, the views, the comments, this all kind of stuff, which we see it below the title, right? Right now we see it below the wiki title, below notes title, below question. So what we are doing is we're shifting all these stuff to ellipses. The screenshot right now, which I have shown on the slides, these are for notes only. But for example, we have award a barn start. This won't be present in wikis. And I guess spam also, it won't be present in wikis. And in question, the 6th comment will be answers. So I have put conditions, and after, like, for all the pages, and according to that, I have put this on sidebar, like in the drop down, and bug fixing. So basically, because of new design, we created a lot of work. This is true, actually. Like, we faced a lot of work and we created lots of work. So to fix that, they were like, basically those bugs were like overflow fixing. Like, as I've pointed it out, they were responsive fixing. Yeah, like the smaller screen, we are supposed to look into smaller screen, tab screen, and the medium screen, all the screens. And there were lots of UI distortion and the marginal alignments. We are fixing it. We have already created a follow-up issue, so we are trying to fix it one by one. We have created fix most of them, and we are going for others too. And issues on first timer. So basically, okay, so I tried helping first timer contributors. So I didn't create much though, but I tried creating 12 once a week over my Outreachy period, and I tried helping first timers and tried to help them a successful contribution. And I try to make sure that if I have created a first timer and the person who is trying it, then they should get it done and they should understand it and get it merged. And regarding the review process, basically I tried reviewing the problems or some PRs which I'm able to understand. And I tried reviewing more than 28 plus PRs in my Outreachy intern period. And out of which, I guess 25 were successfully merged and 3 weren't because I wasn't able to convince them to continue it. Okay. So after that, okay, what's left and the future plan? The future plan is we're supposed to do all the bug fixing. Recently, Jeff created a new issue for the blog page, so we'll be doing the design, and all the code will be written it's a feature, I guess. So we'll be sharing the code on Gist, and the dashboard is left. Gautami has already started the work, and after she has initialized it, and after that we'll be moving on to the next part. And in future, I would like to contribute to Public Lab, and thank you for being a wonderful community. And I would like to contribute as a contributor, learner, and a mentor too. Okay, and I would like to explore other projects and other repositories on Public Lab too. And thank you so much.
Great.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. That was a great presentation. A huge amount of work done.
Okay. How do I?
Great work. Okay, well, thank you, Lakika. And Gaurav, we have you down here, but actually you're not a fellow for the summer. So
Okay.
you did a lot of things. But did you want to say anything, or? Yeah, I don't think we asked you to make a presentation, but your name got on the list.
Yeah, sure. I would like to introduce myself too. So I am Gaurav. I am software community coordinator here, and I loved working on different projects. This GSOC, working on image management, a bit on simple data grapher, and Naman's project was really great, and it was a great opportunity for me to learn too. And it was awesome to see the amazing work.
Yeah,
Yep.
I agree. I think we all really learned a lot. I mean, you know, we've had big teams in the past, but such a big team, and also working on several different projects, each of which had many contributors. So in the past, Gaurav can sort of attest to this, but we've had sort of publiclab.org, and then maybe like 2 or 3 other small projects, satellite projects, which are their own, they're substantial, but independent. And this was the first summer where we've had like a whole team working on image sequencer, a big team working on MapKnitter, a whole team working on publiclab.org, and other projects that are, you know, connected into all those different projects. So it was a very big, complicated coordination effort, and you all did really well.
And the collaboration team between like Lekhika and Gautami and Alex and Kaustubh, these collaborations worked out really well, and the work product is really awesome.
Yeah, it was a great model to have people who are kind of naturally working together on projects. I thought that worked really well. Okay, Pranshu, you're up next. Did you want to take over the screen? Go ahead.
Yes, sir. Am I audible?
Yep, we hear you.
Yeah, okay. Just a second. Yeah. Is this screen sharing active?
Yes, we see it.
Yeah. So okay, I'm just gonna try to not take much time because I can go on about this for like 5 hours. Yeah, just
I'm sure all very interesting, but you do have 5 minutes.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, so I will just start off with the most interesting aspect of my project. Oriented, fast, and rotated free. Just a quick, fast actually means rotated segment text, binary, robust, independent, elementary features. We'll get to know what that means in a bit. The algorithm basically the lab is done inside Master Code, one of the repositories that I was working in this summer, and everything is yeah. So it basically it makes the best of fast and brief, not exactly.
Pranshu, I don't know about other people, but your audio is cutting in and out a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me too.
I wonder if it's actually background noise rather than the connection. Could you maybe move closer to the microphone just to check?
Yeah, hello, hello.
Yeah, we hear you now.
Yeah, am I clear now?
Yeah, we hear you. We hear you well now. But maybe not now. Sorry, Pranshu. If you would like, I can share the slides and you can talk.
Sure.
That might save a little bandwidth. Let me see what I can do. Okay, just quickly, if you could stop sharing, I will start sharing and just say next slide.
Okay, sure.
When you want.
Yeah. Okay, sure.
Does this work?
Yeah, sure. It's fine.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. The main point being here, it takes the overhead is really less. Now on this slide, I basically stated why exactly did we not go with surf or fast or brief or like those technologies. Why we choose ORB? It's because first of all of those are patented, so that just really cuts it out. Like ORB is actually free for use, and basically ORB is the latest technology that was developed from the best of all of these, and basically the ORB the algorithm behind ORB ORB actually is a new technology, but the algorithm was developed in the late 80s, and the it's being reviewed over and over again, but the algorithm is actually, it's so efficient that it hasn't been changed significantly. Like it's just going on till now also, like it's just going on and on. So yeah, Jeff, can you move on to the next slide? Yeah, so that's a start right there. It's 10 raised by 2. That's 100. It's 100 times faster than Surf. Speeded up robust features. That was the closed. That was like the closest alternative to ORB until 2011, and it employed the same techniques, the same algorithm that ORB did, but it was patented and everything. It was not open source. So after 2011, it really like everybody like adopted ORB and just move on. Can you move on? Yeah. So the main presentation starts there. The flow of basically the ORB states what actually happens I actually had a tab open to explain that. It what it removes all the even numbered rows from a matrix, and then you can see the pyramid becoming shorter and shorter, become like smaller and smaller. There's actually I've exposed an API. You can define that particular resolution, the topmost resolution, till when actually image gets compressed to, because after that, it won't get compressed like to even shorter like images. So that happens, and then the fast feature detection, the corners are detected. It basically what it does is that it forms centroids, as you can see in the image, G here being a centroid, and then it calculates the moments that that's done with the Harris corner measure. It basically employs Hamming distance. What exactly it basically takes two strings to like two different pixels, converts them to to machine code like bytes, and then finds the number of bits that should be in place so that the two would be same. That's known as Hamming distance, and it calculates that, and from that we get the the moment the the I'm forgetting this term right now. I don't. I just forgot that term. Yeah. So basically, you get the momentum. You get the moments. You get the moments to those particular. I'm not sure that's called that, but you get the orientation from it. Non-max suppression is basically in that particular region we find the three local maximas. In my algorithm, I've narrowed it down to one. So it takes a bit more time, but it's just way more accurate. So in standard, the standard is like it takes three local minimas, and it narrows it down to one minima, and then operates on that. So basically, non-max suppression is that, and then what happens is that it on a match fail, it will just repeat all of these three steps, and then it will go inside the oriented brief steps, and then it will just run the matches on all of that. Can you move on to the next slide? Yeah, so it's basically what I said. Multi-scale feature-based scale pyramid is used. That's the Gaussian pyramid I've been talking about. The fast and R brief. Yes, the R brief is a rotative version of brief. Like I was talking in the previous one, whenever the centroids are calculated, along with them, the moments of the adjacent cells are calculated. Now, what exactly how are they utilized is that if I compare two images and then I rotate one image to like any particular angle, it will still be as efficient as it was when the images were at the same orientation, because the moments have been already recorded. They have been put into unsigned 8-bit integer arrays. All of this is in my code. If I had more time, I would show you line by line. So yeah, it's basically per down. Per down is basically an API that JS Feat library provides us. It's been used extensively inside the algorithm, and yeah, so it basically directs the calls. Yeah. Can I move on to the next slide? Yeah, these are the Harris corners measures. Out of those, the corners that are selected, the Hamming distance has been calculated, and the rotational variance, that's the orientation I was talking about. So rotational invariance is basically, no matter how much, by what angle you rotate it, it will still, return the same, results, which makes it like really robust in its foundation. Yeah, any more? Orientation is computed with direction. Yeah, basically, if I actually had this in a tab. If you actually open my if you ever like open up my demo or actually run the matchup code on any image, you would actually see that. Yeah, can you open up the demo? Yeah. Awesome. Awesome.
My computer is old, so it's a good test bed.
Yeah, can you scroll down to the matches? Yeah, yeah, perfect, perfect, perfect. Yeah, so exactly what it does is that the Harris corner measures, they basically differentiate the corner scores that's indicated by the confidence here. It basically calculates the the corner scores, how confident the algorithm is that the particular corner matches to the other image that you have provided to it. And then what it does is that it differentiates it on the vector, like between the points, the vector that is found by matching both of those points. So it basically, the confidence that you see here is not exactly that confidence, because it's a scalar magnitude of that particular vector. But yeah, so that was basically the what orb operates upon. It basically like takes that particular point from both images, and then it forms a vector, and then it differentiates based on that direction. So that was the algorithm that was coded inside, that's used till now, for 30, 40 years. Nobody has come up with a more efficient way to do so. So yeah, that was the catch, basically. Yeah, search and matching process, that's the matcher, the matches that we, the storing and everything, that's the unsigned 8-bit integer arrays that I was talking. You can, hello? Can you just go back one slide?
Sorry, I couldn't hear you for a moment. Go ahead.
MPLSH is basically multi-probe locally sensitive hashing. It's a long term. What it actually does is that it's simply like all the work has been done already inside the orb algorithm, and what it does is that it just relocates. That's what exactly it does. It just relocates and stores. Like basically, if a match fails, it would just move on to the next pixel and then check in its proximity if any the pixel is matching to any other pixel in the in other image. This task has been implemented. It took me like, and now it takes about. That's because it was not original. So I had to code that myself. I actually, as a reference, I looked over at the OpenCV C++ code for this, and then I had to write that in the JS. So yeah, so that made it easier. Yeah, can you go on to the next slide? Yeah, other libraries that I created and worked on are Matcher CLI, that allows you to perform any queries on the Matcher code library, whatever you need. And actually, Matcher CLI can be integrated inside a CI environment to automate like stuff for Matcher code for you, and it could actually also like cross post back to your GitHub PRs and everything. The testing is done through the snapshot and everything. It's done through Chest library, and the leaflet distortable image, I worked on it a bit, and I worked on some libraries even before JSON, public lab editor, and for some time I worked on inline, what's it called, inline markdown editor, and leaflet distortable image being one of them. Yeah, so I opened a full few FTOs and brought about a few changes. It was really amazing working there. Yeah, so yeah, can you move on? Yeah. Okay. So this is basically thank you to every mentor and everyone else actually, because public lab has been like one of the amazing community I've been a part of. Like it was like these 3 months were just amazing. And Sasha has been so helpful. She's been so dedicated. She's been so hardworking. Like, I mean, Jeff has been, Jeff has been guiding me through, throughout the process, and like it was just amazing. These were the best mentors I think I will ever get in my life. Amazing, that was amazing. Sagapreet also helped me. Igor, I talked with Igor through text on Gmail and stuff. Harshit was also active. So that was it. And I wish I had some more time, but that was the summary of it. And
thank you
it
so
was
much.
Something. Actually, it was something that I had never ever imagined that I would work. I actually just when I first heard of GSOC, I thought to myself that it would be something like building some simple UI like library and just be done with it or something like that. But I mean that's the stuff that most people do. But I never thought that I would do something like this. I mean, I have no background in machine learning or something like that, but it was really, I mean, image processing was the stuff I've been doing, and it was amazing. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Sasha.
You had a great summer. Thank you so much for your work on this, and it's exciting to see where such a modular library that's so flexible will find new applications. So that's going to be really exciting. Thank you again.
Yeah.
I'm going to stop sharing here.
Yes.
And we just have 2 people left, I think, Vidit and Gautami. Has anyone else? I see Rishab has joined. If you'd like to present as well, I can add you to this list here. Let's try to stay at 5 minutes per presentation. I know we've gone a little over on a few of these, and that's fine, but we have about 20 minutes left. So, Vidit, are you ready to present?
Yeah, I'm ready. So if everyone can hear me, anyone can hear me?
You're a little bit quiet, but we do hear you. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So hi. So this year my project was basically on synchronous image editing, which actually would happen on MapNeta maps. So I'll share the screen. So is my screen visible?
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Okay, sure. So my project was basically on synchronous image management. So the basic idea was to make a Google Docs like feature, which would help us to make live changes. Let's say if we have 2 people working on a single map, so changes made by the first person would automatically reflect on all others who are working on the map simultaneously. So we started the discussion with basically on how to use like action cable or the synchronous editing library, which would help us achieving this project. So we first discussed about PRJS. So PRJS was actually serverless, and we had a requirement that we'll be needing the server to make all the make all the logic and to store all the data on the database. So we went for the action cable library or gem to which is actually an inbuilt library of Rails. So that's how we reached on action cable. So I started building on action cable on Alex's Rails 5 branch. So he helped me a lot in my project, and So the first part was basically to integrate all the action cable related changes, to add the gem, to add all the channels on the back end and front end. And later on, so basically the action cable is divided, the project is divided in two parts. So we had the channels on the back end and we had the channels on the front end. So basically the flow would be like a browser's changes would be sent to the server, and the server would do some processing and would broadcast all the changes to the users who are connected to the browser, and would make the changes on their respective browsers with some logic on the front end or the JavaScript code. So for that, we mostly had the changes in Java in MapMeter's map.js file. So it had some. So we added a function there, a method there to synchronize all the additions and deletions and updations of the images. So that's how we did all the JavaScript work. And finally, for the testing, we integrated a wrapper or a gem built for action cable testing, which is actually known as action cable testing. And it gives us some good amount of functionality to test the action cable feature. And so I'll just show the GIFs and some code here, because I cannot replicate the changes I did for. So basically, these are the GIFs. So firstly, so this is a feature where I delete. So these are two browsers actually. So I deleted the image on the first browser and it automatically reflected on the other. So this is just a prototype, and there would be multiple users working here. So this is the deletion part, and this is where the addition part would take place. So I'll add an image over here and it will get reflected on the other browser. So that's how it got reflected on the other browser. And finally, the updation part. So this is happening too fast, but so I distorted an image on the left browser, and the changes are automatically reflecting there. So this is just a prototype, and it's deployed on I think the stable branch, and we'll have to closely look there what all the bugs are there, and we'll have to fix this, and finally we'll see it on production. So yeah, I guess that pretty much sums up all the work we did, and in future we'd be working on firstly deploying the product on the website firstly, and then we have some revisions, like like a person edits an image, and we basically have to show who edited the image last. So that's probably the follow-up we could pick up. And the next thing would be that we'd have to give functionality of turning off the image editing by each user, so that the map remains like private and is not editable by others. So yeah, I guess that's all. That pretty much sums it up. So yeah, thank you. And if you have any questions for me.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's such a great.
I just wanted to say the open pad doesn't work anymore.
Sorry, I didn't get you. Sorry.
Like the what do we call it? The pad for the open call has a bad gateway or something.
Did we overload it somehow?
I have no idea.
You know, actually, it's funny because I think it probably uses WebSockets. And it's an open source project. Let's try force reconnecting or connecting again.
Yeah, I did that, and then that's when I got like nginx 404 bad pathway.
All right.
Okay, I am connected to pad now. Okay,
Gaurav, can you fill in for the time being? I think that it's probably just reacting to a lot of us being in it at the same time. This would be a good regimen of tests for Vidit and Naman and anyone else doing WebSockets work. But yeah, thank you so much. That's a great presentation. I love the GIFs as well. It's going to be this is one of the projects that we added to the list of possible projects without really feeling like it was going to happen. You know, some of them are just like a little bit out there in terms of complexity, and we just thought that we'll mostly have to focus on upgrading the core of MapMeter. So it was really amazing to see this come together. and also use a lot of the upgrades and improvements to leaflet distortable image as well. Gautami, are you ready to present here?
Yeah.
Oh,
Hello,
sorry.
everyone. Yes, I'm ready.
Sasha, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Did you want to say one more thing here?
Oh, no.
Great. Gautami, do you want to go ahead and take over the screen now?
Yes, sure.
Thank you.
Yeah. Like, is my screen visible?
Yeah, we see it well.
Yeah. Hello. Hi, everyone. I am Gautami Gupta from Bangalore. And so I was working, this summer I worked for the UI improvements project with Lekhika. And so like initially we focused on few pages for which the designs were in the style guide. We followed those designs, and we started with the people's page, followed with question page, individuals tag page, profile page, sidebar, dashboard, and front page design, and I'll get to it. So when we started with the people's page, a lot of it was already implemented, like the maps, and the page was divided into two columns. So the two features which I added was add location feature, which allows you to add your location on the people's page. Second was implementing the ellipses, like we implemented the cards for like we changed the pattern of, it was initially in a form of list, and we changed it into cards, and I implemented the ellipses which actually kind of hid all the redundant data. Second, coming to questions page, I, like Lekhika mentioned, we had 4 sections. She did the first and the third, and I implemented the second and the fourth part. So for second part was pretty easy. It was just implementing a text box and designing it as per the style guide. The last part was recent questions, which basically views it displays the top 3 recent questions that has been asked by anyone. And yeah, so for that I had to do a little bit of changes with the controllers. And yeah, now like for me, individual stack page was one of the most challenging part. So while Lekhika implemented the background image for the header, I went for the main tag card where I used the default bootstrap card class. And it had a lot of features. First was ellipses. Second was basically like it has a lot of conditions where one has a wiki image or one has a wiki or not, and depending upon that it had variations. Second thing that I implemented on individual tag page was the sidebar, which has the maps, the related tags, and a link to people's page. Third functionality which I implemented here, and it's still in review, like it's not merged because it's not yet responsive. It's done for the desktop view, but I'm still working on the mobile view. So we have a post button which opens up a bootstrap modal, which has options for templates like question, which directs to the question template, and share a story and describe an issue. Both are like post templates, but with describe an issue I tag it with issue brief, which I yeah, or there's an option to skip template as well. Now coming to the dashboard, I've implemented like a major part of the dashboard. A few functionalities are still left, but the majority of it has been implemented, where we have the map on the right. And because so the dashboard has the cards for the tags that a user follows, and relevant question or post for that. So today only Lekika and I, we were having a discussion about how to add comments as well, because in the current dashboard we have comments as a section also, but since comments we are not able to relate it with the topics, so for now it has been left out. Also, we did a lot of brainstorming on the dashboard section, because like the current design has a lot of features like adding like sharing your work or things like that. So we need to figure out where to place those functionalities as well. For now, this is the present design. So I also implemented for in sidebar design, I implemented the cards. So it has, so initially we had just the names of the cards, but now we have other options like subscribing, and this is the card section. Also, front page design, Jeff posted an issue a few days back containing the designs for the front page. I've implemented the topics footer, also a header, which you can see here. Because I've shared the gist for the header in the issue as well. So future work is I have 3 to 4 PRs which are being pending, and most of them are ready to be merged. So soon I will get it merged. Then there are some because a lot of UI changes we have done. So we have to actually make a lot of pages responsive, and for now we don't have a lot of designs as well for the mobile view. But yes, responsible to make like an individual tags page or profile page, we have to fix the responsiveness of the pages. So that is what the next target will be. Also, like Lekika mentioned, we have a lot of marginal or padding issues because of a lot of UI changes or CSS override. So that I think it'll be great to open a small FTOs for that, so that we can invite a lot of newcomers. Dashboard design and front page design are under work. For front page design, the second part Lekika is working on it. Third part I've taken over, so this soon will be done. Also, before the summer of code started, Jeff posted an issue for the blog page, the public labs blog page also, which kind of got lost. And so I think we can just start it again, the implementation of it. Yeah, so I think this summer I mainly worked with lots of cards and Bootstrap and the UI and small fixes. It was great to collaborate with Lekika. First of all, thank you so much. And Jeff, Gaurav, all the mentors, Sagarpreet, thank you so much for guiding. And because I know I've been stuck so many times, but thank you so much for keeping up with the patience and guiding both of us. Thank you so much. And the design work, it was great brainstorming over profile page with Liz, and all the designs were wonderful. And thank you so much, and looking forward to continue contributing to public labs. Thank you.
Well, thank you too, Gautami. It's such a great project. One of the things that's nice about it is that, as people may have noticed, you can just see a complete transformation of the Public Lab website. Almost every single page has been modified, refined. It just looks much nicer, much more consistent. And especially some of the pages that were worked on, like the tag page or the profile page, before were really needing an update, like for years. And now it's largely completed. I mean, they look fantastic. And I also hear from Lekika that, when you do a project like this, you do introduce more bugs, but I think that you all have a great plan for following up. And because of so much work being put into the first timer only issues and community growth, there's just a lot of potential for people to come in and get involved through a lot of these. In the grand scheme of things, they're not huge issues. And I'm really excited to see the dashboard. I think it's the last major page that we need to kind of do the overhaul with, and it's looking wonderful. So yeah, I'll be sure to respond to a lot of the most recent comments. Thank you so much. Rishab, did you, I asked, and I didn't see if you heard, did you want to do a presentation as well?
Yeah, sure.
Awesome. Okay. It's your turn. And that would put us just a few minutes over the end, but I think we'll be fine. So go ahead, please. Thank you.
Okay, so I'll be sharing my slides. So is it visible?
Yep, we see it.
Okay, so hi everyone, I'm Rishabh and my project for GSOC was Community Toolbox. And so first of all, I'll give you a little introduction about what the project is and what it's all about. So Community Toolbox is basically a platform which focuses on solely helping newcomers in getting started and being involved in a community. It also provides a list of first-timer only issues, which is a great way to help newcomers, and it also helps in getting useful insights on different projects across our organization. It is as it is newcomer friendly and easy to get started. I believe that it has least friction when it comes to users' current skill set and the required one when you need to get started. So about the project. So this project, my project for GSOC was to enhance Community Toolbox by implementing some required features and also ensuring stability. So I wrote unit tests for that, which covers the controller layer, and documentation is also updated so that anyone can easily get started with the project and just read about and get a gist of all what the project is all about in a couple of minutes. The project it follows a model view controller MVC-like architecture, and so the documentation explains that well, and also the installation, all the videos is also uploaded. So the job of getting started by a newcomer is even easier, and we ensure that there's least friction between them. So here's a list of a couple of things that I've done during my GSOC, and I'll just quickly go over all of them, explain them. So the first one is stale issues. So basically stale issues are the issues which haven't shown any activity since the past 2 weeks approximately. The purpose of this was to provide some issues that people can take on as per their choice. Obviously, after they work on their FTOs and are a member of community, so they can take on voluntarily the issues and can help others with them. And similar to this is a Hall of Fame issues, which is not currently implemented, and but it's planned to have same kind of sets, but it will have issues that are not being updated, the issue threads which are not being updated for huge durations, like a year. So there's a list of issues across our organization that is fetched as flowchart shows that, and there's a check that applies there, and if it's true, that is basically if the issue is more than 2 weeks old, so then it's a stale issue, classified as a stale issue. So here's a quick look at the stale issues list that is shown on the page of code.publiclab.org. So the next one is a drop down for navigation. So basically, earlier we used to type in URL bar for navigating across the repositories, but with the introduction of a standalone app in the project, it is impossible to navigate across repositories actually, because there's no URL bar in that case. So drop down is really helpful, and it really makes the job of navigating across the repositories easier, much easier. So, and the data that is provided in the dropdown is also ensured to be dynamic, that comes from the database and is not hard-coded as can be seen in the code snippet on screen. So it comes from the database. So, and the next one is filter for recent contributors. So as the recent contributors list is one that is most viewed and is very important, potentially important, and people get mentioned in check-ins. And so this list is basically a filter for this list is when when recent contributors list is requested for any repository across public lab, the first thing that behind the scenes happens is the data for that repository is fetched for 6 months back. That is the largest time frame that user can request for. So basically, this is done in order to prevent any redundant requests from hitting the API. So once we have the data for 6 months back stored in the DB, so any further request for recent contributor is fulfilled from that from the data stored in the database, and we save a lot of requests here. So as can be seen in the flowchart, whenever user requests recent contributors data, the first thing that happens is it gets fetched for 6 months, and then according to the user's query, it is shown to the user accordingly. So here's a little clip that shows the filters that are applied. User can request the data for any time frame, that is 1 month or a week, and it can also sort it accordingly according to his choice, alphabetically, most recent commit, or even leaderboard. So that's the filter. So the next one is notification. So the purpose of a user notification was to make a user aware of any unexpected errors that occur behind the scenes. So if any unsuccessful request throws the error, which is situated actually in the controller layer, is all the way communicated to the community toolbox, which is the interface file, and is communicated all the way to community toolbox, and a notification is triggered from there, and user don't have to wait and pray for the data to appear in case of any unexpected errors. So this ensures that. Here's a little clip that shows the notification. If on the backend something went wrong, then a user can see, and this data, the data that is can be seen on the notification is need to be more precise. There is a follow-up for that, because this doesn't really tell much about what happened behind the scenes, but for the version 1 it was pretty okay. So the next one is night theme mode, which is simply an alternative theme that users can switch to anytime they want. So basically, if you work at night, so you can just switch to that, and is a local storage involved in this, so which remembers user's choice, and whenever you come back to the website, you can the theme will automatically set to the last one user set. So the next one is progressive web app. Progressive web app. So this is added to community toolbox, and it actually enables the website to be installed on mobile devices, and is also offline friendly. It actually stores the data in app cache. So in case when there is no network, the request can be fulfilled through cache, as can be seen in the flowchart. When user requests any resource, that is in step 1, it goes to the service worker, it gets intercepted by the service worker, and a network call is triggered. If it is successful, then good, the cache gets updated and response is sent back to the user or the client. But if it fails, then the latest copy of the data that is stored in the cache is returned back to the user. So in this case, we actually ensures that the data is as fresh as possible, and we serve the latest possible copy of data to the user at any time. This little clip shows the offline working of the website. So basically, I switched this to offline mode, and it gets loaded even after the website is gone offline. So for now it's online, and then I switch to that. And when I reload the page, the data that is now showing on the website is coming from the cache and not from the network call. So that's that. So next thing is refactoring the code. So earlier the code was in a big chunk file in the community toolbox. All the code was present there, and so I've actually restructured the code according to MVC, and every piece that is responsible for different outputs is isolated from others. So the main chunks of the code are models, controller, and views, and flowchart shows
On the request goes a community toolbox, the controller layer where all the request handling is done, and a database is also updated, and the controller layer is the only one that communicates to the database, and anything regarding database is done on the controller layer. And when everything is done behind the scenes, the response is returned back to the community toolbox file, that is the interface file, and community toolbox file invokes the view layer, which is the UI folder, and the view layer finally displays the data to the user accordingly. So configuration for flexibility. So as community toolbox plays an important role at public lab, welcoming newcomers, and it can be easily concluded that it can play a important role for other organizations or other users also. So for that purpose, this feature was added. There's actually a configuration file which can be customized and can be easily used by any other organization or any user. And it contains some details that need to be filled accordingly. So that some of them like organization URL and README and code of conduct, etc. All that links, and the website gets customized according to that. So FTO list. So FTO list is basically this list is the purpose of the list, which is to encourage people to help welcome newcomers to the community. So this is a piece. This is a list of people that created and first time only issues to welcome newcomers in the community, and showing the names of those people on the page, on the landing page, is it helps in encouraging people to do the same and keep welcoming newcomers to the community. So as this project was getting bigger, the stability was becoming a bigger concern. So I wrote tests for the controller layer. So these tests are Jest is used for writing these tests, and the controller layer is currently covered under these tests, and there are approximately 17 test suites and 24 tests, and they all cover the controller layer currently as of now, but I'm planning to write the test for other part of the code as well. Documentation. So as of now, the project has an updated documentation which is pushed to the main repository, and it clearly explains all the pieces. And now updated getting started guide along with the video version clearly explains a newcomer to how to start contributing to the website and how to get going with it, and it actually makes the process even easier. So now what's next? So there are a lot of things that are not complete yet or need a little follow-up, like the notifications part needs a little revamp in the UI as suggested by Gaurav. It needs a little UI change, and there's a Hall of Fame issues list which needs to be worked on next. And actually the PWA version also needs a little updation so that the user is able to refresh the cache accordingly, and you should be able to know what the version of the cache that is currently running in behind the scenes in the website. So there are a little list of follow-ups that need to be implemented in the near future. And yeah, that's it. So thank you all thank you all at Public Lab giving me this opportunity, and I really appreciate that, and I'm looking forward to contribute more and continue working with Public Lab. Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Rishabh. Like, all of us benefit from the work you're doing because you're like creating the welcoming room, in a sense, for our whole community. Like, probably almost every single one of our community members have come through that page in order to find Public Lab and become part of the community. So it's so important. It's like offering people like a delicious cup of tea as they walk in the door, making sure that they're okay. All of that is great. And I hope people are getting excited about some of these features, especially the recently added ones, like being able to see who has recently created first timers only issues is amazing. This idea of the Hall of Fame which is like issues that have been open forever that no one can solve. And, you know, or like,
Yeah.
I mean, all of these things are really impressive and amazing. And the JSON config file allowing other communities to use this project as well is really cool. And I finally wanted to say, I don't know if people noticed this, but Rishabh has developed this whole application without a database, essentially. Like the database is local, meaning that all the data is kept in the GitHub API. And when you go to the page, it fetches it and it acts as if it has a database, essentially, but it doesn't. It's very impressive.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's not really related to like anything I've been doing this summer, but like I find myself, because I get like emailed the notification about everything that happens like on any public lab repo, just like open small conversations you'll be having about things you're updating, and I'm like, wow, it looks really good.
Yeah, it really does. And I did want to note also something that I thought is really nice, that is the badge. So if you go to, I'm actually going to commit it to, I'm going to commit it to the public lab, to the plots2 project right now, just to, as a good example. Let's see. I promise I don't do this very often, but I am committing directly to the master branch. But if you go, I just added it to the plots2 README, and if you look at the community toolbox README, you'll see it as well. Let me share my screen just so you can see this, because I think it's a really neat way to sort of show this in action. All right, any second now. Here we are. Yeah, check this out. So this is like the README, and I just added this. This is something that Rishabh recently added. It's a little badge that people can put on their projects that says newcomers welcome. And when you click on it, it goes into our welcome page. So I think that's a really nice one. Like we've had first timers only friendly, of course, but this is something that distinctly is, wait, are you not seeing this? I think I chose the wrong window. Here you go. Okay, and we should wrap up now because it's we're at the end of the time. But basically, it's this little badge for the README that represents this project, and it says "Newcomers Welcome." But I really like that. Okay, well, thank you, everybody. This has been, I think it's our longest meeting yet, 2 hours, but it's fantastic to see all these projects. And you should all be very proud of yourselves. I don't know what else to say. Thank you all for all your time. Thank you to the mentors. Thanks again to the organizations that helped put this together, the Outreachy crew, the Dial OSC group that helped fund the Outreachy fellowships, Google, of course. And yeah, I mean, we're looking at the next round of Outreachy, Summer of Code, things like that, and more information coming soon. But thanks a lot. And yeah, there'll be, I'm sure, like a little breather as people, you know, now finish their projects, move on to their school year or whatever else you have going on. And don't feel like you have to be there the same amount of time. That doesn't make sense because now you're no longer full-time. But I'm sure you'll be excited to, you know, stay in touch in whatever capacity you're able going forward. And we're very grateful for your time. Did anyone else want to say anything just before we stop? Well, why don't I stop recording and we can just close out more informally. All right, 3, 2, 1.